Hi everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight, the horror movie podcast here on the Mail of Us Podcast Network. I'm Peter Bradley, and class is in session because joining me as always is the Professor, Timmy V.
How's it hanging?
We talk about horror movies here, from the past and the present.
And the present.
Yes, thank you. And so this week we're going to talk about a new film. It's called Holidays, and it's an anthology horror movie made up of stories, and each story is set on a different holiday. So,
And basically, what an anthology is, it's a lot of little tiny movies that go inside one big movie. Well, just in case people are wondering, like, hey, it sounds like they're reviewing, like, 6 or 7 tiny movies instead of one big movie like they normally do. Well, that's the reason why.
that is true. In fact, that's actually, I mean, as much as you brought it up in a really weird way, it's actually a very valid point. That this episode will be a bit different than normal because it is like, how many is that? 2, 4, 6, 8 stories. Like, it's 8 short films essentially, rather than one narrative. So it's going to be a little bit weirder to talk about. So obviously we're going to go through them in order and just talk about each one on their own. That means though that probably we can't really have a spoiler-free section at the start because it's kind of hard to. Like, it's easy to do with a regular movie because you just like, alright, I'll talk about it for 10-15 minutes without spoilers and then go into plot. We can't really do that with this because
I think we can kind of give just like one big general, did we like it or not kind of thing. That,
yeah.
be a little short and then go into spoilers and stuff.
Yeah, and I've not said the director because it's actually a different director for each story. So I'll say that as we go.
So 8 different tiny little directors instead of one big one.
Never changed him. Never changed. So, well, did you like this movie, Tim? I suppose then, if we want to go a spoiler-free sort of general section, then did you like it?
Yes, I was actually pretty surprised at how much I liked it. Obviously, I really like anthology movies, but I feel like not a lot of them are that great. Especially like in the last however many years.
I agree. Even the ones that are supposed to be good. I find that I will really like 1 or 2 of the stories, but there's always the one.
Yeah.
There's always the one that drags the whole thing down.
Yeah.
Always.
What I will say with this one is I was actually pretty surprised because I was worried that we were going to get that. Like maybe there'd be 1 or 2 good ones and then the rest would be really bad. And I do feel like it is a little uneven. There's a lot that I like more than others, but
there's definitely ups and downs going through the movie.
Yeah. But I was pretty surprised at how many of them I liked and how much I liked. Some of those. Like some of those, I like. Wow, like these are really, really good. I almost want to see more of it and that sort of thing. And then even the ones that weren't as good,
they were so weird that you got a kick out of them anyway.
Well, like there wasn't really any ones I can say I altogether hated. Like
there was one I kind of really didn't like.
Okay, I have. I think I can venture a guess as to which one.
There's one that I kind of didn't like, and then there's one that I think is really forgettable. But the rest were either good or were weird enough that I was okay with spending some time with it. Anyway.
Like I think the ones that I didn't enjoy as much, I still wouldn't say that like I hated them. It was just like, all right, well, yeah, this one wasn't as good as the last one, but I'm still into this movie. I'm still excited to see what happens next. So this is my general thoughts.
Well, why? I think anthologies often suffer because I feel like the general anthology typically is 3 stories, and they'll all be about half an hour to 40 minutes. And I feel like that's a mistake because the whole fun thing about an anthology is that you can have them all be any length. So I think the fact that they gave 8 directors, and I mean they probably give them a time limit that they couldn't go over a certain amount just so that the movie wouldn't be ridiculously long, but it doesn't feel like they said, alright, you all have to be exactly 15 minutes each, or all 10 minutes each. Like, some of them, there's one that's only, I couldn't even guess, I wasn't timing it, but there was a couple that felt really short, and then there was a couple that felt like, no, this is closer to 20 minutes, this is a bit meatier, this one.
Yeah.
So, I think that freedom's good. I think it just, because I think there's some ideas, especially for horror movies, where you go, that's a really great idea, but it's not really a full movie. It's just, there's a couple in here that I'm going to pinpoint exactly when we talk about them that, that is a great idea for a 10-minute thing, not a 90-minute or whatever,
I'll agree with that, yeah.
So, And that said, there's a couple of them where I'm like, this feels like it could be the opening 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
there's a whole movie after this that I'm not getting to see. And that's where you feel like I kind of hope they expand on this and just do a full movie out of it because it has that potential. And
Definitely.
so no, we like the movie. I think overall, ups and downs, but I would definitely recommend checking it out. I don't think you're going to have regretted your time watching it.
No,
so
definitely not. Yeah.
if it sounds like a cool idea. And I will say that I do like this idea of an anthology, just because basing a horror movie around a holiday is such a thing. You know, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Slumber Party, no, not Slumber Party Massacre, Silent Night Deadly, that's the one I was in my head. I don't know why I went to Slumber Party Massacre, but you know what I mean? Like, it's such a thing in the 80s was to take a horror movie and base it around a holiday. That is just, this feels like a nice sort of weird homage to that, even though all the stories are mostly a lot more inventive than those
and
were.
I would love to see a sequel to this, maybe like tackling some of the holidays they didn't, get to, because we didn't have like a Thanksgiving one or a 4th of July one. Admittedly, these are, U.S. holidays, and there could be other countries' ones as well.
That's actually worth pointing out, is a couple of these were very, like, it felt like a couple of these were British. It was mostly American, but there was a couple, particularly the St. Patrick's Day one was Ireland.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was made in the UK, so,
Yeah. But I mean, I would gladly see like I wouldn't want one like every year. There'd probably be diminishing returns at some point. But yeah, I could see this maybe doing like another one or two of these with.
See, you say that. You say that there might be diminishing returns, but in a weird way, I don't think there would need to be. I think you would definitely have ups and downs, just like the anthology itself. But because you're essentially giving, like, now Kevin Smith aside, most of these people, at least the one or two that I clicked on, seemed like they were just sort of getting into directing. Like, they'd have credits doing other things, but this is the sort of. And I feel like if you're giving just up and coming directors like a slot in one of these movies, and it's a different set of directors every time, just making up their own stories, I feel like it's almost impossible for it to like start feeling stale, because it's just different people coming up with different ideas that don't have to connect or don't have to.
Yeah, that's true. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe they got really lucky on this first go around where they had maybe more talented people or something. But I'm just thinking of, like, my closest frame of reference would be kind of probably the last more popular anthology series, VHS, which just kind of got worse and worse as it went.
But that's when you base your entire thing around found footage.
True. Yeah.
The found footage is what got stale there.
Yeah,
because found footage is kind of a gimmick usually, and it's and that's the problem, is gimmicks do get stale because they're gimmicks. Whereas this was just 8 short stories, and some of them were good and some of them weren't as good. But
I just feel like if something does good enough that it gets a sequel, and then it was good enough again to get another sequel, that eventually they're gonna get to a point where they're like, oh wow, like, we keep making money off these, like, we can put in like less and less effort and hire people for less and maybe get worse people or something. I don't know. I mean, I would eat my words if they put out 8 in the next 8 years.
I get what you're saying. But I get what you're saying, and that's probably what would happen, is they would get cheaper and cheaper, but at the same time, I feel like there's no reason why they shouldn't consistently be pumping out good stuff in this, because it's not like there's a central idea that's going to get stale, especially especially if they branch out and it's not just holidays. Maybe they pick a different theme, like, for the next batch.
That cool.
Like maybe the next batch it would be, I don't know, countries maybe. Have a horror movie set in France, have one set in Japan, have one set in, like,
that could be cool. Maybe like time periods.
There you go. That one would probably be more expensive though, because you'd have to do period pieces and or future. So I get why that one might be a bit of a struggle, but nah. So I guess we actually quite like this movie.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into spoilers now, though, and talk about each one individually. And we can't really do that without. I mean, they're so short. We can't do spoiler-free sections for each one. And even if we did, would you skip ahead to hear the spoiler-free section of the next one? You probably wouldn't. So, so we're going to full spoilers now, but we do recommend checking it out. So, first up, and full spoilers. I'll just say it again. Full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
First up, we got Valentine's Day, and I actually kind of liked how they went in order of the year, like how where they take place. Even though Mother's Day and Father's Day in the UK are on different dates for us.
Oh my.
Our Mother's Day is in March. I don't know if it's before St. Patrick's Day. I really can't remember off the top of my head which one's first. But and Father's Day I think's way later in the year, but. I know that's important, but I liked it to put them in order they take place.
Yeah.
In the year, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so first up we have Valentine's Day, and they don't really have titles other than the holiday. But this was written and directed by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer, and this was the story about the teenage girl who's kind of bullied, but she has a crush on her swimming coach. And the swimming coach overhears the girl's been really mean to her, so he does something nice and he writes her a little Valentine's card and puts it in her locker. First point I want to make about that, though. Well, this is the thing, that sounds really creepy and it sounds really bad, but actually watching it doesn't feel that way. It actually feels kind of sweet.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because
she's been teased and he would never pick you, and it feels like he's just trying to do a nice thing, but at the same time I know if he was caught giving her that card, he'd be fired. Everyone would think creepy things.
Well, in a lot of ways, this felt like a throwback to like the 80s. At least to me, just because I felt like it was like a little over the top, like with the bullying and stuff. And I feel like, I mean, at least when I went to school, like you didn't really see like bullying like that, intense and that obvious.
I think. To be fair, I don't even think in the 80s, if you'd went to school, it was that obvious, and I think that was just always a movie thing.
Yeah.
At least I'd like to think it was, like, were people this blunt about being an asshole in the 80s?
Right, yeah. I mean, I feel like you'd see that more in like, 80s movies. Like, yeah, maybe not in real life, but, like, in 80s movies, like, there was that kind of, like, over-the-top, like, just, like, blatantly, like, screaming and chanting and stuff, and, like, the teachers kind of being, like, not really doing that much, and then, and I feel like maybe that might be something.
Yeah, because her name's Maxine, and they all chant Maxipad at her.
Yeah.
She's trying to die.
And, like, like, I feel like nowadays, like, a teacher would, like, be like, hey, like, that's enough, go to the principal's office, but, like, I feel like back then that they were more of just, like, okay, just kind of shake their head like, come on, guys, like kind of passive thing.
Oh, and stop that guy! Stop it! You're not stopping. Oh, I'll just go back to reading my thing.
And even like swim class, like I don't know, I feel like that's not something they really have in school anymore. I mean, just going off when I went to school, I feel like
they don't have swim class. I could see it being less a class and more like an after-school activity.
Yeah,
like swim club, and one of the PE teachers will be taking it, like. And that could be that, and it doesn't. And that,
possibly,
honestly, the class, as it were, in this scene is really small, so I could see it being more like that anyway.
That makes sense, yeah.
Just like you have after school, football or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know, like all that kind of stuff, and then also like the music and everything. I don't know, it just felt like a very 80s-ish to me.
I really like the music. The music immediately drew me into this one. Now, I do think the acting in this one's a bit weak.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I wasn't sure if they were purposefully going for like over the top, because like I don't know, if that's what they were doing, then it was like spot on, because like the girl's like very much like, like come on, like what are you doing, you stupid. Well, like it's I don't know, but like it felt like very like cliche, over the top horror acting, and I wasn't sure if maybe that's what they were trying to go for.
Maybe. I didn't feel that, though. I just kind of felt like they were shit.
Yeah.
I could
definitely
be wrong.
Possible, too.
It just kind of felt a bit weak to me. That said, though, the acting aside, I actually really liked this first one.
And, well, actually, I only really think, like, that main bully girl was the one that was, like, really bad. Like, I don't know, and, like, I didn't think I guess the teacher wasn't great, but...
No, the teacher wasn't bad. The main girl, though, some of her sort of looks, even though they were kind of meant to be over the top, felt a little bit... But it kind of worked with the music, and I was
Yeah,
I was drawn into the story, and I liked the offbeat, over the top sort of nature of it. When she gets the
yeah,
card and everything lights up and the camera like zooms in on her, she's
yeah.
smiling. Like
I think
I
this
liked
one
all
was.
that.
Yeah, me too. And I think this one might have been, like, acting aside, like maybe might have been the best directed, at least like in terms of like kind of, I don't know. I felt like the shots and the music. I
I
felt was like
disagree with that because there's one that I
okay,
think's better directed later.
okay.
But let's not pick favorites yet. We'll save that for the end, Tim.
Oh, I didn't say it was my favorite. Just I think like just in terms, it was very like visually like interesting. Just I don't know,
Yeah,
just
no, it was. It was.
the shots and the
thought
way it
I thought the
moved.
music stood out more to me though. The music I thought
Yeah,
was really
well,
drew
I
me
thought
in.
they
The
like worked
synth.
really well in like tandem. Yeah,
Um. So of course, the story here is that the girl, the bullied girl, follows the blonde bully home through the woods. And by the way, teen girls never go home through the woods. It's a bad
yeah,
idea. Just FYI. But the bullied girl basically just fucks her up and kills her. That's pretty much it. She kills her brutally,
yeah.
and it's kind of violent and over the top, and I kind of appreciated that. And
Well, well, what happened was I guess the teacher was like needed like a heart transplant or something like that.
they do.
Yeah, because that's why they were having the charity for him. Because they said like they're putting on like a fundraiser thing for him on like that Friday.
Yeah, I didn't get that was
And
for his own personal illness though.
I think, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I might have to go back and check it. But like, I think at some point he's talking to someone or something like that he looked at something that talks about like a heart transplant and it made it seem like for him. And then I think at one point that like that bully girl says like, "What are you doing to get him a new heart?" or something along those lines.
Maybe I just missed this.
I think it was like pretty quick, but that's
I
what.
never got the impression that there was anything wrong with his heart. I just thought it was a fundraiser because he was associated with whoever was.
Maybe he was associated, but and again, maybe I'm misremembering, but we go back and rewatch it. But I think
If I was getting to that scene, no, I wasn't skipping over that. I wasn't finished. I was just.
oh no, I was just saying because that's what I was thinking that's important to know because of what she does.
See, I never got that at all. I never. Maybe I just missed it, but it never even occurred to me. So it cuts to him, and he's like having that fight with his wife. And part of you just kind of thinking, where's this going? Is he going to end up having an affair with this girl because his marriage is shitty or whatever?
Yeah.
And by the way, if he actually does have a heart condition, she's been a horrible wife. Like seriously, she's pissed at him that he won't go to dinner on the Friday because his fundraiser's on the Friday. If that's for his heart condition, then she's awful. So, yeah, that's my evidence. That's why I'm disputing this claim, Tim.
Okay.
This does not sync up with what the wife's saying at all. But anyway, so the bully girl shows up and she's ripped out the blonde girl's heart and she's just got it in her hands and she's smiling. I just make it, and I took this just to mean is she wanted to give him a heart.
Yeah.
But are you looking this up?
I was looking to see real quick if it's on the Wikipedia page, but it doesn't look like they have the descriptions of it.
Nah. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just assume I'm right until proven otherwise.
Okay.
That's the rule on this show, Tim.
All right.
But I like the ending to this. I like the
No, it was a cool ending.
Hmm.
And also she uses the box cutter that her dad committed suicide with.
Yeah.
It was a nice little touch.
Yeah. Also, there's something very violent about getting killed with a box cutter.
Yeah. It was actually pretty brutal. Like they don't actually show it. Like they cut away, but you kind of hear some sounds and just imagining it.
Well, they go to that wide shot from the side, I think, and you don't really see the cut, but you see like everything else, and it's just kind of like, oh, this is kind of brutal. But I liked how kind of crazy and off kilter that whole first one was, and just how insane she was at the start. So that's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So that starts us off, and then we go to St. Patrick's Day, written and directed by Gary Shore, and this is possibly the weirdest of the entire film.
Mm, okay. I might have one other pick, but
Uh-huh. I feel like
I
I feel
I think it's a pretty. I think it's a toss up between this one and one we'll get to later.
okay, okay. But anyway, so this
It
is
is
St. Patrick's
definitely
Day.
weird, but
And this is the one where I shit you not, there is an evil ginger child tormenting a teacher. That's not necessarily the main plot though. That's just that's connected to it. But really,
yeah.
the plot of this one is that this school teacher in Ireland uh, has a drunken night out and presumably has sex with someone.
Hmm.
Wakes up in a car, finds out she's pregnant, and then up until this point, it's just the kid's been kind of weird and there's a sort of tone. But then the doctor says, "Oh, have you seen Rosemary's Baby? Well, imagine that, but with a reptile. That's what you've got." And at this point, I'm like, "What the fuck is going on? This is weird." And then not only does she decide to give birth to a snake, there's this weird cult and
The person that she slept with that is the Ginger's father. It's like a they keep referring to him as like Danny Zuko, who I think is like a character from Greece.
yeah, and he's got that look to him.
Yeah, it's got like
well.
this weird like 60s greaser vibe.
And it ends with this cult
Yeah.
dancing around holding up this really fake snake. This was batshit insane.
I love this.
I didn't
That
no
was great.
I didn't like it. Like I thought it was kind of weird and just it didn't like it just kept getting weirder and it wasn't doing anything for me in an enjoyment level. That said, it was weird enough that I don't regret watching it. Like this is the thing when it's this weird and this short. It's like 10, 15 minutes. It's very easy to just sort of look past.
Yeah. It'd be strange for a whole movie, but I think it like works perfectly as a short. And I don't know. I loved it. Like it starts off like kind of weird, and there's like a creepy vibe to it. And then I like how like kind of she kept seeing like spirals and stuff around her, and I was kind of like, oh, like where's this going? What's gonna happen? And then I like at the end they're just like, fuck it, we don't care. We're gonna be as weird as we want. And I don't know. I love that they were so like unapologetic about it. They're just like, yeah, this is what's gonna happen. And
what about when she feeds the snake a mouse through her vagina? Did you like that scene?
Oh, I felt a little bad for the mouse. Honestly, I kind of like kept wondering, like, I wonder how they shot that. Like, do they have someone from like, was it the like? Don't they have to have someone on set making sure no animals are harmed?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it was fine. Like
I don't know. I was.
maybe mice are written off. Maybe they don't count in that rule.
Yeah.
They're small enough that no one cares. I don't know. So that's St. Patrick's Day. I really don't have much more to say. At the ending, we find that the little ginger girls went to another school, presumably to like creep out another teacher into whatever.
Yeah, I wonder what they do with the snake afterwards. So they worship it, I guess.
I guess. Well, because it starts off with that video explaining about how all the snakes get tossed from Ireland.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This folklore and whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's St. Patrick's Day. Next up. Actually, we should probably be rating these as we go, shouldn't we? Individually.
Sure, we can do that.
Alright, Valentine's Day. I know we're going back one, but Valentine's Day. What?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making up fake things to rate it out of for every one of these. I'll do that at the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I maybe give that one like a 7.5. I really liked it, but I don't know. Maybe if just the acting was a little better.
I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to say an 8.
Okay.
I'm admittedly, if the whole movie, if it was a whole movie, and it could be, that could be the start of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, but if it was a whole movie, Yeah, the acting would probably bother me more, but on its own, as it is, I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day, on the other hand, I'm thinking like a 5.
Oh no, I loved it. I'd probably give this one an 8. I thought
Oh
it was
dear,
one of the
okay.
best.
Well, there you go. Next up, we've got Easter, which is written and directed by Nicholas McCarthy. And this is probably the shortest of the whole
Yeah.
bunch.
Now, this one would probably get my vote for the weirdest.
I can see the argument for that.
Yeah.
I can see the argument for it. So it's about a little girl who's going to sleep on Easter night or the night before Easter, and her mum's telling her stories or whatever, and and the little girl's scared of the Easter bunny. Like,
Yeah.
will I come in? They're like, what if he sees me? Will something bad happen? Like, blah, 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 blah. Then the mum goes to her bedroom, and there's a weird sexual moment that I can't quite explain. She just kind of, there's a shot of her legs, and she kind of opens them a little bit, implying she's horny, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I'm not making
Okay.
this up, Tim. You remember this?
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't remember it.
Well, no wonder. Nothing comes from it.
Yeah.
It just happens, and then it cuts to the main part, which is the girl gets up at night for a
Yeah.
drink of water, and the Easter Bunny's kicking around, although he starts off more of a sort of deformed blob, and then kind of mutates.
Yeah, like at first I didn't really know what it was. And then like I thought like, oh, it's like a weird, oh, it's not the Easter bunny, it's like a weird Jesus thing. And then you finally see it and it's like this weird Jesus Easter bunny like mix.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then he starts talking,
Yeah.
and he talks to the girl and says, I think it's time for you to take over my job. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, because no one is supposed to see the Easter bunny, and I guess if you see him, you have to become him. But there's also some really weird, fucked up shit. Like he has like all the like stigmata wounds that Jesus has. Like he has like two holes in his hand, which a baby chick comes out of. And then he like makes the girl like put her finger in his wound, like on his like ribs where he got stabbed with a spear. And which I thought was really disturbing. I was like wincing at that scene. I was like, oh, it's so gross.
So like some sort of weird implication that Jesus, after being resurrected, became the Easter Bunny, and then the mantle gets passed on if someone sees him. Like, I don't...
Yeah. See, this is another thing where it's like, this is so unapologetically weird that I absolutely loved it. And again, like if, you know, a feature-length movie, I don't know how that would work, but I feel like the shorter they are, the weirder and more nonsensical they can be.
You know what, Tim? I can tell you exactly how it would work.
Okay.
Do you know what that would be if it was a full movie?
What would it be?
It would be a slightly different plot, but it would basically be God Told Me To.
Oh, okay. I kind of thought you were gonna go with the Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen, but
No. Think about it. But I won't spoil God Told Me To, but just think about the way that plot unravels, and as you keep finding out weirder shit as you go on. You wouldn't find this out this early on if this was the start of the movie, but like just how it would get to the point at the end where it would reveal this weird Easter Bunny Jesus hybrid thing, and like that's what it would be.
I'd probably be done with that actually, though. If they,
Well, I do like God Told Me To. God Told Me To
Yeah.
is solid. Batshit insane, but it's solid.
But yeah, I really like this one. I thought it was so weird, and I thought the makeup like looked good on the bunny Jesus creature. So yeah, I was like all for this one.
All right, okay. You liked it more than I did. I didn't dislike it necessarily. I almost just don't know what to make of it. It's just so short, and there's almost not even really a plot in the sense that there's an arc, you know, or a twist. Well, I guess Easter Bunny Jesus is the twist, but I don't know. It just kind of happens. For me, this is probably something like a really interesting 6.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like an Yeah, like an 8.5
All
or
right, okay.
so.
Tim's mostly rating up here so far. This
Yeah.
is interesting. Now, next we get
Well,
to
I won't spoil anything.
next we get to Mother's Day, which is written and directed by Sarah Adina Smith, and
Easily the
this
worst one.
yeah, I would agree with that. This is easily the weakest one. So this opens with a young woman in her early 20s at the doctor's, and we learn that she has had to abort like 20 something babies because she gets pregnant every time she has sex, regardless of any contraception that she
Which I
used.
thought was interesting.
Yeah, that part's interesting. That's like
Yeah.
a unique spin on things, and I'm like, oh, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Both for her and the husband or the boyfriend, whatever. For both of them, this sounds absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
This is true nightmare fuel, right? That's what that is. And like, because she says things like, "Oh, I make him wear 2 condoms, sometimes 3,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, Jesus Christ, have it. That's one way of making it a bit thicker, I suppose. Just keep on layering on condoms. But it just, she goes to this retreat. The doctor refers her to a retreat, and I think part of the problem with this is that the St. Patrick's Day one already kind of turned out to be like Rosemary's Baby, and then this was essentially Rosemary's Baby, and there was no unique twist. It happened exactly how you would think it would.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I watched this yesterday, and I don't even remember the ending to this. Like that's like how uneventful. Like I remember she goes to
The
yeah, she has
retreat,
that she goes to like that retreat fraternity clinic or
and
fertility clinic.
they keep her sort of essentially a prisoner, drugged up for like 9 months,
Oh, right.
and then she gives birth, and it's like, I don't know, a demon or the son of Satan or whatever.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
so it starts off interesting with the whole like no way to like stop getting pregnant, and then it just turns into
Yeah, it was really disappointing and honestly just forgettable.
literally the most memorable thing about this is some of the weird nudity that just happens to be around.
Oh yeah, I remember like that kind of like old fat lady
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah, the old fat lady dancing
Yeah.
naked. Um, yeah, it's probably one of the most unattractive. Like, there's a scene in this where they're in a hot tub, and it's like just lots of women all topless, right? So you think, oh, that sounds quite good, doesn't it? As a straight gentleman, no, it's like one of the most unattractive, like, room full of naked women I've ever seen in my life. And it's not that.
Well, it's kind of like I don't know what they're going for. Are they trying to be shocking or
I really don't know what
is
they're going
it-
for. I have no idea what this is trying to say.
yeah. Yeah, it's a shame because like at this point when I'm watching the movie, I'm like so amped up because to me they just keep getting better and better. Like, I like the first one. I
Yeah.
really like the second one. I love the third one. I'm like yes, like I'm so into this movie. Then we get to this one and it's just like such a drop. Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't like this one at all. Didn't do anything interesting with the end, and I wasn't really sure. Well, I mean, I got the whole Rosemary's Baby style thing, but I wasn't sure
Yeah.
what the point was. Why, like all the other ones, even if they're doing something similar to something else that I've seen before, I get what their twist on it is. I get what they're changing to make it unique.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, I just feel like,
Pointless.
yeah. All right, so that leads us. Actually, I was meant to rate that like 3 out of 10.
Yeah. I was
Something like
thinking about that
Yeah.
around that range.
So next up we have Father's Day. When does Father's Day take place in the US?
June, I believe.
June, right? Okay. I think it's October here.
Oh wow.
I think it's October. I could be wrong though. So someone
It's
from
so
the
weird that this made up holiday that doesn't really exist can occur at different times.
Yeah, it's weird. Like every other holiday we have at the same time.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Mother's Day and Father's Day, they've just decided, or I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure someone will trace it back to their roots and why it's different days and whatever. But anyway, so Father's Day, which is written and directed by Anthony Scott Burns, Starring the leading lady from House of the Devil. I don't know if you recognise her.
Ah, I thought I thought that that was her, and then I was gonna look it up on IMDb, but I forgot because I was actually kind of like into it. I was like, well, I don't want to stop and look it up, but I was like, she looks so familiar. Is that her? But yeah, that was cool.
I love this one.
Interesting. Uh,
I so the plot of this one is that this I can't remember everyone's names. This was 8 stories with different characters in it, and a lot of them didn't even get their names. But so we have the leading lady, and she comes home and it's Father's Day, and there's a box labeled Father's Day, waiting for her. When she goes into it and she plays it, or when she goes into it, she finds an old style like portable cassette player, a Walkman, I guess. And she listens to it, and it's a message from her father, and it's really mysterious. And he's like, "I'm," and she's under the impression he's been dead the whole time. It's like, I want us to be together again. I want you to know where I am. If any, and he basically says, go to where we last were, and we see her taking out like, the photos of the playground and stuff, and she phones her mother and is like, "How could you not tell me he was still alive?" Blah 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 blah, and then she goes on a road trip to find the location and listens to the other side of the tape, which is like directions from that point to where to find her. Now, the music and everything about this was just my perfect kind of mysterious. I was intrigued the entire time.
my my problem is I liked it, and I felt that same like a sense of intrigue as well, but I just felt like you get cheated at the end a little bit.
I can see why you'd feel that way, and I do think the ending's probably the weakest part.
Yeah, like I agree, like definitely like the journey up there was really good, and it was filmed well, the music was great. I really like that actress. Like, I mean, she wasn't really doing much. She's kind of just walking from place to place, but for some reason I was invested in her doing that, and I really like that the tape she's listening to, it was like it was a like tape at a time when he was with her as a child, and you could kind of hear like all these other sounds and
Yeah, and it
stuff.
was crackly, and it sounded like
Yeah.
shit
So
basically.
yeah, so I thought that was really cool, and then they get to the end, and then you kind of see that like mysterious figure kind of like in the chair, and then I'm not saying that I need complete answers and I need everything to be explained exactly what happened at that moment, but it just like cuts like right away. Like I would need like a little something more to give me some type of tiny clue or something,
Now, don't get me wrong. I would have preferred like something that the father did to be
Yeah.
like the reveal or whatever, but for me the ending's just really intriguing because her mother tries to call her, like she leaves her phone in the car and we see that her mother's trying to call her, and to me I'm thinking her mother's calling her to tell her, what the fuck are you talking about, your dad died. And
Yeah.
so to me that's, well, what's sent her this tape, what is taking on, like to me this is some sort of um I don't know,
Entity.
demon or entity or something is tricking her into getting her here for some reason. And
Yeah,
I
like
and I don't know what that is. And this is one of these ones where I kind of wish there was more of this and there was a whole movie. And
yeah.
I love the idea that like people go and try and find her afterwards and try and like see what happened. But for me on its own, I actually just really like I was invested through all this one more than
Yeah.
any other ones.
Mhm.
I was just deep into it. The mood, the tone, the way you hear the father's like recording play as she's going places, and just the mystery of it all really worked for me. To the,
Yeah, I
to,
definitely agree with that.
to the point where, yeah, I think the ending isn't perfect, or
It
possibly
didn't matter at
for
that
yeah, at the
point.
point it didn't really matter. It's kind of that thing where the
No.
journey's the important part.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and I really like this one as well. I probably wouldn't say it was my favorite. Just yeah, I mean, I'm sure minor complaint, overall. But yeah, it did still, bug me a little bit. But No, this is definitely one of the better ones.
All right. Well, for me, that one's a 9.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a little lower, like an 8. Um, but yeah.
But that's Father's Day. So, moving on to Halloween. And this is written and directed by Kevin Smith.
Okay.
If you couldn't tell from the awful dialogue.
Or the fact that one of the girls is his daughter.
I don't know. Please.
And
I don't know what his daughter looks like.
well, she was in she was in Tusk. So,
Yeah, I've not seen Tusk, Tim.
Yeah.
So.
Well, as a horror fan, I try to see most horror movies, so I saw it.
Oh, what was that dig? Oh, Tim. Oh, you sleazeball. Now that I know that, though, there's something creepy about casting a daughter as a webcam girl.
Yeah, I thought that was like really
Which
really
one was his
weird.
daughter?
The main one, I think Holly, the one that kind of
The one that was crying about what she was.
No, not that one. The other one that was kind of like more take charge. The one that was like, hey,
Right.
like we gotta stand up to this guy and like
Okay.
blah blah blah. The one that had the most lines.
I want to imagine this conversation where you go to your daughter and say, right, I've got a part for you.
Yeah.
You're going to play a girl who gets off on webcams for guys to watch. All
Yeah.
right.
It's
It's so
very
weird.
weird.
Yeah, like
I was interested to see what you're gonna say about this one because I know you're not a Kevin Smith guy.
I like the idea and the themes it was playing with. The whole idea that the three women kind of embrace being witches in a weird sort of modern way.
Yeah.
I like that idea. For me though, almost every line of dialogue that comes out of these people's mouths is awful. The guy like at the store at the start on the phone, he like I mean it wasn't too bad, but as soon as he got home and the way he was talking to them, it was just so on the nose. Like
yeah, there's no subtlety at all.
You're tricked to coming out here, and then he's like just this awful. Like, why wouldn't they just leave? There's no reason why they can't go home.
Yeah, it seemed like I don't know, like obviously the guy that they torture and stuff he's not like a sympathetic character, but at the same time, I mean maybe he was worse than what we've seen because like all we really see is him being kind of like this like manipulator.
Don't get me
and
wrong.
Stuff.
He is awful. The way he speaks to them is atrocious.
Yeah.
But for me, all that says to like if I take a job, no matter what it is, whether you're rubbing one out on camera or stocking shelves, if I take a job and within the first day, if the boss is like, "Hey, you dipshit, you don't get to do anything. You have to do what I tell you," like at that point, sure, right? I just leave. I'm not trapped.
Yeah, like that's what I wasn't sure if he was like worse than what we've seen. Like maybe he's keeping them prisoner somehow.
He tries to rape one of them. Basically, he's trying to force one of them to have sex with him. He's bad enough. Like I get why. Like for me, he's so over the top evil that that's one of my problems. Is I just like there's no subtlety to this whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. It just
I don't get why any of them are staying. I don't get. They go so sadistic with their punishment, and which I get based on how much of a dick he is, but I don't get why they're so gleeful about it. Like they're cracking jokes, and then when the new girl comes at the end, it's like, oh, there's been cutbacks, there's been a change in management. Like I don't get why they're so gleeful about it. It's weird. I don't get the tone. I think the tone is atrocious, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm kind of trying to say is it's weird. It doesn't match. I don't know. I feel like the way the characters are acting doesn't necessarily like match up. Like obviously, yes, this guy is horrible and stuff, but then it's like, well, I mean, why? Like, was there something like specific or special about this certain night or event that they, like, why decide now to, kill him? And
just kill the spider. Do apologize.
And then like why, like do they just want to get rid of him or like why is it like, like no, we don't just want to like kill him. We want to like torture him and stuff. I don't know. It was odd to say the least.
Yeah, the tone for this was way off to me. Even at the start, when the girl dressed up as uh, Dorothy, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that.
When she comes in, she's like upset because she was doing a show for a guy and it was all going normal and you know dirty talk as usual. And at the end, they just calls her a whore pig or whatever, and she's like crying about it and they're trying to cheer her up. I'm like, this just feels really a really shitty tone. Like,
Yeah.
it feels. I don't even know if it's demeaning. It's like a weird. I don't even know what you call it. It feels so poor taste.
No, like I know what you're saying.
I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah.
I've never gotten Kevin Smith though, to be fair. So
I mean, I like some of his other stuff. I really liked it as a kid. The older I get, the less I'm kind of like, But I don't know. I'd still consider myself a fan, but this didn't really do much for me. And then they make the guy give himself a vagina.
yeah, they
In
make him
case
cut off his
we
own
didn't
dick
mention that.
because they've got a dildo shoved up his ass
Yeah.
with attached to a car battery, which they can turn up. I feel like this would have been a much more interesting story. Like, see if you'd given me this concept, right? Here's what I would have done. I would have started it with him waking up,
Yeah.
and we would never see the girls. It would just be all through the chat, and it would be reveal as we go why this is happening to him and how much of an evil prick he is. So that, but at the start you'd be scared for him, but by the end you'd be rooting for him to die. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. The way this has been done, I just think it's poor taste. I don't care about any of the characters.
Yeah.
Because the way the girls talk and react to him doesn't jive with the awful things he's asking. It's I don't know, like it's.
Well, no, you're right. Like it's hard to it's hard to kind of cheer the girls on when they're also being so sadistic.
Actually, do you know what I think it is? They're cartoon characters, and under no circumstances do I want cartoon characters to be tackling webcamming, forced sex, and exploitation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cartoon characters tackle frying pans and heads.
Yeah.
Not this.
Yeah.
So no, this was this is a close second for worst for me.
Trying to think what else. Yeah, no, I'd probably agree with that.
This
Yeah.
for me was like a 4, maybe 5 out of 10, something in that region.
Yeah, I'd probably say about 5 for me.
So that's Halloween.
And it sucks because it's like Halloween's like, I feel like you kind of lost it on that one. That's
Yeah.
that should be the best one.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, well, it also feels the least connected to its holiday. Like literally, the fact that
True,
she's in a
yeah.
costume and they're watching like a witch thing on TV is like the extent of the Halloween.
Yeah.
It feels the least related. But moving on to Christmas, which is written and directed by Scott Stewart. This one stars Seth Green, so this is your star power, if you've got any. And he plays a dad who is trying to get a present last minute on Christmas Eve, as is typical for movie dads, even though I don't think humans in real life are stupid enough to ever let things get that way.
Also, like, I never understood like why, like, I don't know, if it was Christmas and someone was like, hey, I wanted to get you this, but they didn't have any, but I put one on back order. We'll get it in like a week or something. Like, that's like, I don't think anyone would be that upset.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kid, so you may be a little bummed that he's not got it on Christmas Day, but if you say, well,
Yeah.
you're getting it in 2 days, like, you're getting it. Like,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it wouldn't be the end
Here's a
of the
few
world.
other things to keep you.
Yeah,
entertained.
here's a porn mag. Here's a subscription to that webcam girl's site that the guy is running. You go and diddle with that. So yeah, basically he's trying to buy like it's not a VR thing, but it looks like a VR helmet, and it's
It's like basically VR, yeah.
it's like a weird kind of like it looks at your social media and gives you things that you'll want to see based on your life, I guess, whatever, I don't know. But this other guy buys it and he won't sell it to him, even though he offers him like more than value for it. But then the guy has like a heart attack or whatever, or he needs his pills because he's having I don't know the exact medical condition that's going on, but he's dying. and he's reaching for his pills, and Seth Green's character decides to just take the thing and let him die, as you do on Christmas.
What I don't get is like you can still like, I mean, if you really want, you could probably take it and still help the guy. Like at the very least, you could take the thing and then call like 911 or something.
Or even like, you would think saving his life might open him up to the idea of letting him sell it to you.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It might be kind of, oh, thanks for saving me. You know what? It's Christmas and you just saved my life. Maybe I will let you buy this.
Yeah. You'd have to be like a pretty big dick to like.
Yeah. I mean, it's a risk. Don't get me wrong, but unless he's completely inhumane, he will probably be more open to it after having his life saved. But so he gets his kid the present, and kid puts it on and he sees whatever. Seth Green puts it on and he sees, some attractive lady in dominatrix gear telling him he's a bad boy or whatever. And that makes sense, I guess. Which his wife likes. His wife, who doesn't want to look at him, sees what he's been looking at and then jumps his bones when he gets home. But the main plot of this is that he starts seeing the guy die again.
Yeah.
Inside the the thing.
Does it also play memories? Is that what they were saying? Or was that like a guilt thing?
I think it's a guilt thing, and they'll just like it might be magical, it might be mystical, or just his guilt. Like, cause there's a whole joke scene where he phones up the support, asking if there's any like anomalies or whatever.
Yeah.
And and then he also puts it on, and he finds out that his wife's been watching footage of her killing her boss. Which I never got as meaning that she actually did. I just assumed that was her fantasizing, because she'd been complaining about her boss the entire time.
Well, the way I took it was that it somehow like played your memories or something, and then the wife got it and saw like the memory of him like watching that guy die and then take his stuff, because she says something like, "Oh, like why'd you do it?" or whatever, and he was like, "What? He had something I wanted and I just wanted to take it." And then I thought that that's what like inspired her to kill her boss, because then she was like, "Oh, like I like that. That's hot."
You might be right. I just took it as she's seen the sexy part. Like whoops, oh dear, I've dropped my water. Because I assumed that, like, when he was seeing the guy die in the vision thing, that it wasn't actually there.
Yeah.
I assumed that wasn't actually something the thing was playing back to him. So when she jumped his bones, I assumed it's because she's seen the dirty stuff. I was like, "Oh, this is kinky. I want me some of this." And then, but you may be right. That actually stands to make some reason.
I mean, it could be possible either way. If that is what happened, though, that is a very dangerous piece of technology. Like that, because like they really need like better like safety protocols or something on that.
Also, I love that this thing is like this hot new tech. It's basically like as big as a new iPad, but you can only get it at one store this late on Christmas Eve. Like, this is the kind of thing that every like mega store in the country would be stocked up the ass for Christmas.
It's not like a Best Buy he goes to. It's like some like little mom and pop VR store.
Right out of the 80s. You said the first one was out of the 80s. This one feels right out of the 80s. Even right down to the fact that it does this magical stuff. Like, oh, computers can do this. Like, so this wasn't a great one. I thought this had a couple of fun moments, but it wasn't. It was kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, it's. I feel like the concept wasn't horrible, and I'm not the biggest Seth Green fan, but I thought, he could do well as like this type of character. But yeah, I just feel like it didn't come together. Like, definitely not the worst, but certainly not the best. Just pretty right there in the middle.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 6.
Yeah, that's what I was
maybe 5.5 if I'm thinking about it. I'd have to watch it again. And that brings us to the last one in the movie, which is New Year's Eve. And it's written by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer. Widmeyer, he popped up earlier.
Maybe.
He wrote and directed. He co-wrote and directed the first one. In fact, so did Kevin Kolsch. Oh, so they bookended thing. Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
But this
nice.
one was directed instead by Adam Egypt Mortimer. Man, your middle name is Egypt. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
uh, and this starred Eli Roth's wife.
Oh, I didn't realize
Because I
that.
recognised her and I was like, what's she from? And I looked her up and it was Green Inferno. And I'm like, oh, that's right, that's Eli Roth's wife.
Oh, Jesus.
I like this one. This one started off and I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of like, because it starts off with a guy who's got this girl kidnapped, who's had kidnapped for presumably months by this point, because he's got all these photos of her being forced into like different situations, because he's like, there's just this, your typical weird guy who kidnaps women and pretends that they're a couple. And at this point I was thinking, other than the fact that it was funny the gun kept not firing, that was amusing, but that was, I thought it's going to be really typical. And then it cuts to our main character, Eli Roth's wife, which is what I'm going to keep calling her, because I saw. Actually, what's her name? I don't know what her character name is, but her real name is Lorenza, right? We'll call her Lorenza.
Okay.
Right. And she is just kind of alone, and it's like during the day New Year's Eve, and we find out she's got a date with someone she's met on the internet, like a dating website, and it turns out it's the guy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, this could be fun actually, because it's like him, like, when's he going to strike? When's he going to do his thing? And at one point she's like, do you want to come back to mine and watch the ball drop? And I'm like, wait, why would she invite him back? This makes no goddamn sense. She's a very attractive lady, and he is like, not that like an attractive person can't be with a not so attractive person. That happens all the time. Tim will tell you. No offense to your girlfriend, Tim, but you are beautiful. See what I did there? I twisted it.
I got you.
I flipped it on its head, which is related to this story. See what I'm doing? I'm setting this up,
Nice.
But he's like, his teeth are disgusting. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off his disgusting teeth in the entire scene. It was
the
grotesque.
brushing scene was like it's weird. It makes you wince, but not like most horror movies.
But so for whatever reason, she invites him back because she doesn't want to be alone on New Year's Eve. He's out the bathroom, and this is when it flips, and you find out why she invited him back. It's because she's actually a serial killer, and she has collections of like parts of all her victims in the cabinet. And then when he comes out, she's basically dressed like Christian Bale from American Psycho, with an axe, and she like comes for him, and we have essentially what's a fight scene that ends with her killing him, and then she dances with her axe as the New Year's rings in, and that's the end. And I loved this one. It started off like I didn't think it was going to be that great, but the twist was just such a great little twist.
I liked it. I probably wouldn't say that I loved it. Granted, I didn't see. I'm not gonna try to act like I saw the twist coming, but I feel like it has been something that's been like done before. Like,
oh no, it definitely has. But I think here they did really well of not choreographing it.
Or,
like
choreographing, like
photographing it.
I don't. I know
just had a word fail.
Some type of graphing.
But see when he opens that cupboard, the cabinet in the bathroom, and it's just got all those things. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I literally went, what the fuck? Like, what's happening?
And even for a second after that, I thought like, oh, like they're perfect for each other. Like maybe they'll end up together.
It's gonna be a love story. Like when they end up, right? And it was like, no, it was like serial killer versus like kidnapper.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, he ended up killing girls too, but his MO was different. He like kept them around, whereas she's like, no, I just want blood. Like, I want to fucking kill him. I'm a serial killer. And I like that. And you're right, it's been done before where people have flipped it on its head. I mean, even the whole idea with Buffy the Vampire Slayer was that the blonde girl would end up being the badass who would save everyone. That was the whole point of that. But I just like it was this was like a short film, which don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind a whole movie of her killing people American Psycho style. That could be fun. But this was like a perfect just. We're going to flip it round. It's going to turn out that the serial killer has run into another serial killer, and then it's a battle of serial killers, and then she wins.
Yeah, I almost maybe would have liked it more if it went on like maybe a little longer, because that's when it got really good. But I felt like it was just pretty quick that she killed him, which I
think that's because it's a short film. Like I think Say this had been a film that had been building up to this the entire time, right? Like for 90 minutes they'd been setting this up, and they'd finally like met, and you were waiting for him to strike, and then it happened. I feel like you'd have got like a proper like 15-minute scene of them like just throwing each other into things in the apartment, and like it'd have been like the end of Freddy versus Jason, the amount of blood that was spewing everywhere.
Yeah.
But no, I really like this one. It's a really simple idea. And the fact that it was the same two people who wrote this as Valentine's Day doesn't surprise me, because I like that one too. So
yeah, no, I liked it. Just it didn't do as much for me.
well, it's interesting.
It's still solid, but
I'd probably give this one like an 8.5.
yeah, I'd probably be a little less. I'd probably give it like a 7.5 maybe.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting that we've ended up having different favourites. If you've been paying attention to all the scores, you can work out what was favourites. But for me, Father's Day goes in at number 1. And then New Year's Eve. And then Valentine's Day. And I'd say the worst one was Mother's Day, with Halloween a second worst. And then the ones that are left in the middle, which I won't bother ranking. I'm just here's the favourites, and here's the ones that I flat out didn't like, and then the other ones are in the middle and just kind of okay.
Yeah.
So what was your favourites, Tim?
Yeah, for me it'd probably be like, and again, depending on like the type of mood or something I'm in, maybe like some of these could be flip flop, but overall I'd probably say it'd be like Easter, St. Patrick's Day, Father's Day, then Valentine's Day. Yeah.
See, it's interesting that we've ended up with a completely different order, completely different list. Like,
I think we definitely agree which ones were the worst, because definitely Mother's Day and Halloween easily.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And then Christmas and New Year's Eve. I like both of them, but yeah, again, for me, those were kind of like the middle, just okay ones.
Yeah. So no, that's holidays. I feel like we should probably give a rating to the whole movie, which I feel is really weird, like rating an anthology, because do you just take an average of all your ratings? Because that feels kind of off. I mean, do you just rate it to like an average of your like 3 or 4 favorites? Like, I think in the end I'd probably give it like a 7.5 as a whole, because there's some stuff that I really liked and I'd recommend, but then there was also some middle stuff, and then there was some stuff that I really didn't like. So I'm glad I watched it though. I can't complain. If I get 2 or 3 good stories out of one of these things, I'm usually quite happy.
No, I definitely agree. Yeah, I would say I was very happy that I saw this. And it's one of those ones where I would gladly watch it again, or maybe like I like to do a lot of seasonal viewing. Like I'll watch like Christmas horror movies like in December and that sort of thing. So it could be one like if I ever had, maybe I'll watch certain ones when it's around that certain holiday. I'd probably give it about an 8, because I think what's impressive is that the ones that are good are like really, really good, and when you think of the movie, they kind of stand out, and that's what you think of.
We can probably disagree with what those ones are, but yes, I agree with the sentiment.
But I feel like those like hold like a little more weight, as opposed to like the ones that are bad doesn't drag it down as much as the ones that are good elevate it.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. Because ultimately you'd say, no, you should watch this because these 3 are worth seeing, even no matter how bad some of the other ones are.
Like, at the very least, I would say it's... I mean, granted, I don't know how many there have been off the top of my head, but this is at the least the best horror anthology I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, probably. So that wraps up that review. Yeah. So let us know what you think. You can tweet at us at mild_fuzz. You can email us mailedfuzz@gmail.com, or you can let us know in the comments below if you're on YouTube.
It's kind of weird that this came out like not during a holiday.
Yeah, I guess. Well, Mother's Day technically was...
That's true.
Well, this was out a wee bit before Mother's Day, but I mean, it wasn't far from it. But, so, yeah, let us know what you think. Also, check out the other stuff we've got. I'm just going to speed through this malarkey. Tim's at Tim Vergilish on Twitter. I'm at Wibble89. Check out the other stuff we've got in the network, such as the 1.21 gigawatt movies stuff, which is all your non-horror movie content. Also TV stuff on the Almost Cancelled, and like and subscribe and rate us on iTunes and all that jazz. It helps us out a lot. Yeah, that's us, guys. So keep watching scary movies. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.